Greetings, Mike Pasquarella here, and I am with you on behalf of a reboot of the video podcast Thinking Out Loud, which I will take opportunities to talk to interesting people and people who are uh, active in the arts and doing very cool things. And today, fittingly, I am speaking with Steve Schuster. He is a singer-songwriter, and he has got a couple of albums out. I am the producer of those albums and perform on them as well. I want to talk to Steve a little bit about his motivations, his inspirations, and just kind of this cool trajectory that he's on right now. And I'll let him get into that. Steve, welcome.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much. And thank you for all the amazing work you've done on my records.
Well, like I've said many times, as a producer, I don't have much to work with unless there's that songwriter in that artistic spark, and that is you every time.
Compliment accepted. Thank you.
I just wanted to talk a little bit this time around about Mercy Me. We worked really hard on that song, and lyrically, I think it's one of your high points, which is quite a thing because your lyrics have been um, quite good and artistic, and you remind me a little bit of John Lennon, the way he enjoyed that wordplay and the way, words sound and the way that they fit together and everything. But you always try to put meaning towards it, whether you're telling a story about your father or whether you are telling a story based on religion or spiritualism or the current state of the world, particularly the United States, where we are recording from. I just wanted to ask you, what was the original seed for coming up with the idea for Mercy Me, and how did it grow from that point?
Well, all my political songs, if you want to put them in that category, really come from the place of observing and being concerned about politics. This goes back to the Sweet Gems album, where we had Trouble Me, we had Do No Harm. On the next record, Unassembled Man, we had Daylight Up Ahead. And fast forward to today, when we're in this unbelievable election cycle, and I just I was sharing my angst, and believing that it was probably shared by a lot of other people too. Um, I, I got the idea to write this kind of song, this style of song, when I saw Bruce Springsteen at Gillette Stadium in the spring. And I was like, I gotta do a stadium rocker, something that I could hear, like everybody singing along to, like they do with Born in the USA, or any other
Fist
Springsteen.
pumping in the air.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if there's one thing there, exactly. And so I began to write this, and I don't know the phrase. Sometimes when you write a song, comes from you don't know where. The phrase "Mercy Me" came into my head. It was sort of like a little bit sarcastic, because it's sort of like a dated kind of exclamation, like back in the day, "Mercy me." Um, and then I tacked on the Rock of Ages part, which is really it's probably biblical in its origin, um, but it's a euphemism for a messianic intervention, or a Deus ex machina, divine intervention. And so I thought to myself, wow, we are really in a pickle here, in terms of politics, in terms of global warming, in terms of our just general society. Wouldn't it be amazing if we had a superhero who could arrive and just fix everything? Just like, just get rid of this stuff that we've all had so much angst about since, we're about really 10 years ago. Um, Today it's at an absolute peak. So I wrote and completed the song, and I think we started, yeah, we did start working on recording it before Joe Biden dropped out of the race and Kamala became the nominee, which at least for me brought back a lot of hope, because it really, she just kind of catapulted onto the scene, and began to say things that made sense. So when I started with the song was nearly done, and I started to work on the video, and I was, creating superhero images and so forth. I thought, well, let's finish it with Kamala as the superhero, and obviously she's down to earth. She's a regular human being like the rest of us. But in context, people could be superheroes in everyday life, and I'm hopeful that she might represent that for the United States of America.
Yeah, it was a song that definitely evolved. For me anyway, it was this almost this childlike expectation that somebody is going to swoop in, because seemingly we're not doing it on our own. And there's just so much negativity, and there was so much going on that was troubling. And for me, again, another play on words, the superhero is just somebody who was rising above a fairly low bar.
Hmm.
But then in the sense of Kamala, she became far more than that. And all that happened in such a short period of time. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, thanks. There's actually a reminder in the song, the lyric, "In the end, we only did this to ourselves." A reminder that it really does come back to us. This song is, a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek call for a superhero to swoop in from outer space or wherever, to save us. But yeah, in the end, we only did this to ourselves, and in the end, only we can really um, unscrew up the world.
Mhm.
We can heal the world as we heal as individuals and communities and as a society.
Mhm. How did the spirituality fit into the song?
Well, it's really sort of one approach to this superhero idea. Going to all the major religions, there's a Messiah, mythical or hoped for Messiah figure that will come and make the world perfect. And so that was sort of one angle of it. The other is the Latin Deus ex machina, which is used as a literary device, and with lots and lots of books, especially some. I first learned about it through Jules Verne. A lot of Jules Verne books had impossible situations where they were just the characters were threatened and couldn't escape, and suddenly something swoops in and saves them.
Mhm.
Happened in The Hobbit too, by the way. If you remember when they were up in the trees and the trees were burning, I think from the orcs lighting them on fire, and it looked like they were literally cooked. And along came the eagles and picked them all up and took them back to their eyries. That's a divine intervention. That's a Deus ex machina.
Mhm.
Um, the religious aspect of it, I don't intend for it to be a religious song, but because it pervades so many of the major Abrahamic religions, I put it in there. I
Mhm.
put a little bit of feel, especially in the third verse, in there. As you know from working together for more than 10 years, my faith, in my Jewish faith, does inform the content of some of my songs. Not all of them, but it's who I am. It's where I come from, and in this case, the Jewish concept of a messianic era. Um, there's some Jews who feel that it will be actually a person, a descendant of King David, who will return and fix everything. On the other hand, there's the other school of thought, if you will, that humans are obligated to improve and perfect the world one at a time, our own little corner of the world. And if we're all really trying to improve the world and leave it a better place than we as individuals found it, then collectively that all rolls up into eventually reaching an era where um, yeah, we don't need a messiah. We fixed it ourselves.
Mhm. Those are lofty goals for a pop song sort of a format, but you've managed to do that. I've witnessed it and have partaken in that process with you as far as the music goes. And I think for the listener, it gives them a journey far more than a simple love song, or which there's nothing wrong with, right?
Nope.
To to reference Paul McCartney, there's nothing wrong with a love song. Um, but I think that your your ability to touch on those lofty topics and more esoteric, because it's never in the front. The religious or the spiritual aspect is never front and center, as much as it might be.
Yeah, this
Uh,
is not religious rock by any means.
yeah,
None of my
right.
materials. It's just informed by faith.
It's a great balance that you create with the spiritual side and the socially conscious side and the the pop song side and the earworm side and all of these things. We've had some great teachers in the past, and I know you're a big Beatles fan,
Indeed.
as am I. You could tell by my wardrobe. Um, so I think to be able to weave those elements together seamlessly, which you have been able to do incredibly successfully. Um, but
Thank you.
it's not just my opinion, because now there was a video that was created for this song, and it's something that you did on your own, which kudos to you for having the wherewithal to do that. But it's starting to stick. People are noticing it. So tell us a little bit about what's happening in that regard.
Well, I created the video because I wanted to have the song make as big an impact as it could, and I think in today's social media environment, which is video rich, I needed to have a video to go along with it to hopefully compel more people to actually experience the song. So, I quickly arrived at this vision of having it be a comic book motif, and really harkening back to the comic books, like Superman and Green Lantern, Batman, that I read in my youth. I mean, I consumed those things, voraciously, and this whole concept of a Superman, coming from Krypton and coming to be a superhero, superpower. I like the serendipity of that, and certainly the style, the colors, the sort of hyperbolic, you think of the Batman comics, pow, biff, bam, boom. I wanted it to have that kind of feel. So I was able to use AI extensively, and I gave it very specific and very rich prompts to create each of the segment images. And then, of course, I edited it in Adobe Premiere and animated it somewhat. But I was able to really capture scene by scene by scene the story, the arc of the story of Mercy Me. And as you alluded to before, Mike, yes, we have had some excellent masters from whom to learn. And I think, back in the Beatles, you mentioned John Lennon, and that really does apply to my goal to always embrace the musicality of words, even if they're read on their own with no tune behind them. Words flow together in a certain way, they connect together in a certain way, and that has to be paid attention to when writing a song. And then, sort of more on the Paul McCartney side, there's storytelling. I mean, just, example after example after example of telling a story evoking an image in the listener. And I've always been, as you have been, inspired by that. And it is a lofty goal to try and mimic that, but that's what I've tried to do.
Yes, uh, I agree. You can read these lyrics, read a day in the life, and I mean, it's poetry first.
Yeah,
And you can feel the rhythm, you can hear the music in the words. Um,
and
it
this is
doesn't help to have
exactly
heard.
why. Sorry, do it
No,
again.
no.
This is exactly why I published my lyrics and photography book,
Hmm.
um, Unassembled Songs, because I felt that I wanted to get the lyrics, in front of people, um, kind of in a formal way, in a coffee book table kind of way,
Hmm.
because they do stand alone. And I got a lot of good feedback from people who hadn't heard the songs, but read the
Hmm.
lyrics only for the first time. So, yeah.
I'm going to publish a tablature book on all the guitar leads that I have done on the Steve Schuster records.
Well, that'll be a long
Because
book.
really, let's be honest, that's really where it's all
That
coming
will be a
down.
long, long book.
A very good book, but
Yes.
oh my God. And for those listening, it's always been kind of a ongoing uh, a joke between us about, well, how long does a guitar solo really need to be? With me always suggesting that maybe it's half the song, I suppose.
Well, you've always,
Um,
I mean, just to compliment you, you've always come up with leads that so fit the song, and the length too. I mean, they all sit right in the middle of the song, maybe the two-thirds point, and bring the listener to a whole new level, so that we can launch into that last section of the song. It's like
yeah.
it's an energy that has been built up to, and beautifully done. So,
Well, it's good to hear you say that because uh, Lord knows I have obsessed over every single one of
I
them.
know.
Um, but you had mentioned your book. Where can people find that book? Is that do you have links for that on your website?
I actually don't yet. I will, but people can contact me directly, and
Hmm.
I'll be happy to get them one.
Yeah.
I do intend to put it on the website. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. So
Hmm.
I've got copies to get to people.
Awesome, awesome. And let's talk a little bit about the nominations and awards for Mercy Me.
Yeah,
It's very
there's so many film fests out there, and what I did was cherry pick the ones that highlight music videos, or have a music video category, and I applied to them. So it's like that lottery saying, if you don't play, you're never going to win.
mhm,
This was really, well. Let me throw it in there. I'm proud of this video, and let's see what happens. And so I ended up with the video has been selected by about 8 film fests, and it's been selected as a semifinalist, both as music video and original song, for the IndieX Film Fest, and it received an exceptional merit award for the LGBTQ Unbordered International Film Festival. So, that means it went through multiple levels of judging and audience reactions and so forth. Which to me, the really great thing is that, oh, people saw it. Whether
mhm.
it's an award or not, it means it was screened. It's being screened next Wednesday at a Regal Cinema in Los Angeles, as part of one of the film festivals, and it's going to be on a big screen, which frankly I've never seen it on a big screen. So I'm excited to think about what it might look like and sound like in a true movie theater context.
Well, this is fantastic. Congratulations on all of that.
Thank you.
And what a wonderful honor it is, as you said, just to have people listen and just to make that connection with with the fans, which I know you have an incredibly growing fan base, and that's really good. And you're quite a prolific writer, and I try to keep up with it as far as getting this stuff completed and finished. And you run a marketing company. It's uh, so this is not your primary wake up in the morning, go to bed at night kind of a thing. So you're doing this in your in your, I won't say spare time because there's really no such thing. And I'll correct it, public relations company, not marketing company.
Right.
Well, although the two are kind of intertwined. Um, but I think that it's great. It's an honor to be recognized by these film festivals. Um, and man, let's keep going. Let's keep going. I want to see Steve Schuster go right to the top.
Thank you. To the toppermost of the poppermost,
Yes,
as Lennon used to say. Yeah,
absolutely.
the writing aspect of it, Mike, it's Stephen King once said, "Writers write." It's that simple. Um,
Mhm,
he was describing how he can't not write,
mhm,
and I think you and I feel the same way as songwriters that, a song needs to be written. And sometimes it comes wholly from within. Sometimes it is just something we almost encounter in the universe, and we're the ones who are obligated to write it down and bring it to
mhm.
life. So songwriting, as you know, as a songwriter, is an almost inexplicable occurrence. It's like, the song wasn't there and it never existed, and now boom, it's literally creation. And that's, the root of creativity is just creating something that didn't exist before, that that deserves and needs to exist.
Yeah, and I mean the creation part of it, absolutely, but the cultivation part of it too, right? Because it does grow up. They do grow up, they mature, they change. And if I had a dime for every time I wrote a song that started one way and ended up another way, I'd have a lot of dimes. And sometimes it it evolves into something where you expect where it's going, and other times it's like, wow, that's kind of surprising.
Mm-hmm.
I never expected it would take that turn and that trajectory.
It is interesting. It really depends where you start writing the song, whether you start with a chorus, and that's the idea around which you want to build, which is what I did with Mercy Me. But other songs, you're noodling around on the guitar and a phrase comes to you, and it ends up being a verse. And maybe it's the first verse, and you don't know where it's going to lead until you get to the end of it and need to go to a chorus. And then the chorus might take on a life of its own because it's now in a context,
Right.
and then that informs all the rest of the verses in the middle eight. It's all, yeah, like I said, it's pretty inexplicable, and there's no, I don't have a formula for it. Maybe some songwriters do, but it's not
Mhm.
formulaic to me. It's really organic.
Yeah, and that's really where you want it to be. I mean, the purest, most uh, poignant art comes from that flow that just happens, and you can't stop it even if you try.
Yeah.
That's fantastic, Steve. Thank you for joining me and talking about this. I'm thrilled for the success. I feel proud in my own way because I've had a hand in it, and I've seen how hard you work on this stuff and how important it is, and the ever important songwriting piece. And I should also mention as a lead vocalist, because how we speak or sing these messages in this art is paramount to where the listener goes. And you've done such a good job of doing this. When I hear your lyrics, they sound to me like they're coming from the soul.
I hope so. Thank you. Thank you for that. And thanks for having me on the show. And I will, finish by saying it's a cliche, but I literally could not have done it without you.
Oh, that's very sweet to say, but like I said, I can't run and get a touchdown if somebody doesn't give me the football. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Steve. Proud to have you as a songsmith partner and as a friend. I wish you the best of luck and thank you for viewing, people who are tuned in. We will try our best to get guests who are as interesting and as important to art as Steve is. It'll be hard to do, but we're going to try to do it. Anyway, signing off for now. Steve, have a good rest of the day, and I'll see you all soon.
Okay, Mike, thank you so much.
Yeah, bye now.
Bye.